Hello, everybody. Mr. Guyette here. I just wanted to create a little video about the problem that we all seem to have last Friday on the check-in question. I threw a dash question at you, and it was very difficult for many of you. And I don't know, probably didn't teach it this year, and I know it's probably something that you don't see maybe all that often. But certainly as you move along and get your writing to be a little bit more advanced, you're going to start to see dashes more frequently. Um, of the 40 freshmen who answered last Friday's question, only 12 of you got it correct. That's 30%. That's pretty low. So I figure that you probably need a little advice here on how to use dashes. Okay, this was the question that I used. The question said, "My two favorite Wisconsin cities, dash Grafton and Racine, comma, were awarded grants by the government for new swimming pools," and highlighted where the words Racine and were. Okay. Now, when you see, usually dashes will work in pairs just like commas will. We've been working a lot with the positives and participial phrases, and oftentimes when you see one, you see the other. When you see a phrase or something in the middle of a sentence, you're going to have a comma before it and a comma after it. Well, dashes are going to work the same way. Okay. So in this case, when you see in this case here that this dash is correct, you can kind of figure then that there's going to need to be another dash where that phrase ends, and that would have been right here. Okay, you're not going to have dash comma or comma dash. Those aren't going to work. I could have had comma, and that would have been fine. But the fact that one of them was a dash and it was not underlined meant that the people who wrote this felt that like that was going to be the correct punctuation. Okay, so the other one needs to be a correct punctuation as well. All right. Now, just a little bit more for you. Again, dashes work just like commas, but why do we use dashes? We use them for emphasis. Okay, kind of like most sentences end with a period, but sometimes when we want to really emphasize a sentence, we'll use an exclamation point. And just like you would not overuse exclamation points, you're not going to overuse dashes either, right? We've all seen papers where people have put all kinds of exclamation points on them, and it looks kind of ridiculous, right? Just the exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, because then you don't really know what to emphasize. Same thing with dashes. You want to use it maybe once, twice a paper. If you start overusing dashes, then everything starts to look important, and it loses the real emphasis that you want to make. Okay, so use them every once in a while. Just don't overuse them. Okay. All right. Let me just kind of give you one more. Let me just kind of give you a little bit of an example about that. Okay. Now, if I would say here that Bubba, a freshman at De Pere High School, plays on the golf team. Okay. Now, here's my phrase, right? A freshman at De Pere High School. There's my phrase. So I can either choose to put two commas or two dashes around it. But it's not really all that exceptional, right? There's a lot of freshmen at De Pere High School, and there's probably a lot of people who are on the golf team. So to put dashes around it wouldn't really make sense. It's a very common phrase, and so in this case, I'm going to use two commas. So I have a comma here and a comma here. However, if I would say Bubba, a world champion dart player, is a freshman at De Pere High School. Wow, that stands out to me a little bit more. Maybe I want to emphasize that fact and really get the readers to notice that he's a world champion dart player. Okay, so in that case, I might use two commas because it's a little bit more than just a common phrase. The fact that he is here is just a little bit more exceptional. You can also use dashes sometimes to take you to the end of a sentence instead of a colon. If I had examples, the jurors finally reached a verdict, guilty. Okay, it's more than just a comma, but I need something there to create some kind of a pause. And so sometimes when I use dashes, I can use them where I might end up putting a colon. So in this case, I could use either a dash or a colon here to kind of give that emphasis that needs. Okay. Same thing here. My children gave me a great present, a day off. I could have used a colon here, or I could have used a dash, either one. But sometimes a dash will be able to take you right to the end of the sentence. It doesn't have to be in the middle. Usually, when you see them on standardized tests, though, they are going to be like the first example that I showed you. Usually, they're going to be like this. They're going to be working in pairs, and when you see one, you should know that where the phrase ends, that the other one's going to be there as well. Okay. For your writing assignment today, try to use a couple of dashes. See if you can put them in the right place where with an emphasis